Diese Konferenz wird nun aufgezeichnet.
Hello, Freshenet Mioneto team and Gloria Ferrer team, and welcome to our live winery education webinar. Thank you so much for taking the time to log in. We are so excited to be able to virtually travel to Germany. Today, we discover one of the most iconic wineries of the Rheingau in the village of Johannisberg. Without further ado, I would like to hand over the virtual microphone to the Riesling doctor, Stefan Doktor.
Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you on Schloss Johannisberg, directly in Germany. What for a beautiful technology we have, which allow us to host you here directly in my office. Wow, so wonderful. My name is Stefan Doktor. I am a managing director of this beautiful and small winery. I'm working here since 12 years, and I can tell you that I'm really enjoying every single day working on Schloss Johannisberg. Schloss Johannisberg is one of the oldest winery in the whole world. But what does it mean, Schloss Johannisberg? As a first, I would like to explain you the name. Schloss means palace or castle, and Johannisberg is a mountain of the Holy Johannes the Baptist. So the name Schloss Johannisberg means the palace on the top of the mountain of Holy Johannes. Schloss Johannisberg was grounded as a Benedictine monastery in the 11th century. But the winemaking and wine growing here in this place is much older. The oldest written document about winemaking is from the year 870. This is the document from the year 870. And in this big document is written that the monks were able to produce 6,000 liter wine already in the year 870. During the centuries, they discovered and find out that from the old grape varieties which grow in the vineyard is a one grape variety which fits in this vineyard as the best one. And this is not a big surprise when I will tell you it was a Riesling. And so they decided in year 1720 to plant only this one single variety in the whole vineyard. And this happened for the first time in the history of the world. That's why it's Schloss Johannisberg, the first Riesling winery of the world. And the vineyard, just outside of my window, is the oldest Riesling vineyard in the whole world. And this happened exact 300 years ago. So we are celebrating on these days 300 years anniversary of Riesling of Schloss Johannisberg. Over the centuries, or better to say decades, they make a very important discovery, because in the year 1775, the monks discovered that they are able to produce a wonderful sweet wine. And the reason for the discovery was this young man. This is a postman from 18th century, and postman like this was riding on the horse 200 kilometers with the samples of the grapes to bishop, because the bishop was the owner of the monastery, but he was not living here. He was living in a small city called Fulda, which is 200 kilometers from far away. So he was riding 3 days on the horse with the samples of the grapes, and when the bishop was satisfied with the quality of the grapes, he gives him a permission like this. This is a document from the 18th century, written like pen with this, and with liquid like this, and with this permission, he came back, and the Benedictines, the monks, were able to begin and start the harvest. It was always okay with this approach, but in the year 1775, this young guy was too late. He came 2 weeks later like usual, and so the grapes on the wines are getting overripe and shrunken on the wine. And the Benedictines decided to make wine from these overripe grapes, and when the wine was finished, they find out this is the best wine they ever tasted. So we discovered the so-called late harvest or noble sweet wine on Schloss Johannisberg 250 years ago. So I would like to explain you a little bit about the place where we are situated. Schloss Johannisberg is situated in the very middle part of Germany. I'm waiting for Nicola. He would like to show you the map. Perfect. So if you look from south into the north, we are exactly in the middle from Germany. If you are looking from east into the west, we are situated on the western part, very close to city Frankfurt. We are approximately 40 kilometers far away from Frankfurt. If you look on the region Rheingau, where we are situated, this wine growing region is lying directly on the Rhine River. You see there on the top, the blue line is a Rhine River, and the region Rheingau is situated on the right bank of the Rhine River. And in the middle part of this region is the small village called Johannisberg, and in the upper part of the village is situated the castle or the palace on the top of the Mount of Holy Johannes, Schloss Johannisberg. By the way, the smaller part of this map is a very old one, a historical one. It's from 18th century, and there was already Schloss Johannisberg classified as the best vineyard in the region, or better to say, one of the very best vineyards. By the way, in the year 1792 was Schloss Johannisberg visited by Thomas Jefferson. You know him, he was later American president, and Thomas Jefferson wrote in his journey book, "Interrupt your journey through the Germany and through the region Rheingau in the small village Johannisberg. And don't miss to visit the castle Johannisberg. The wine which is produced there is the best in the whole country. Unfortunately, I can't buy it because the wine is so expensive." Good message. Today is the quality of the same quality level like before, and the prices are payable. So everything is now in the right things and right way. So now some information regarding the vineyards. Very important things to know is that the whole production from Schloss Johannisberg is made only from one single vineyard. So very easy to remember, one single variety, one single vineyard. And this is the whole production. The hill of Johannisberg, our vineyard, is half circle. It's beginning in the southeast, going through the 100% south, and ends in the southwest. And within this 50 hectares is approximately, when I remember right, 120 acres of vineyard. And within of this 120 acres, we are working very strong to find the very small microclimate in the vineyard, the small parcel, to be able to produce different ways and different style of the beautiful red variety Riesling. This is our big strength, that we are working on a small part inside the vineyard with the microclimate. So the Riesling is facing 100% towards the sun, to the south, and this is very because we are lying very northern. The 50 degrees northern latitude is running directly through our vineyard. So if you look on the map of the Europe and look where is Germany, you will see we are very, very northern. There is an absolutely northern border for the possibility to make high quality of the wine. So that's important because the temperatures during the night are dropping down. And in the combination with a huge sunny influence from the middle of the hill makes a lot of differences. So you have like a very warm days and very cold nights. That's very, very important thing. The soil is built by Taunus quartz. This is a quartz. This is a stone which is in the origin sandstone, but during the millions of the years in very high pressure turned to quartz, and this quartz is able to keep warm very good. This soil is never so hot like gravel or like slate, for example. They are a little bit colder, but has the ability to keep the warmth for a very long time during the night. Just imagine you have 50 degree northern latitude, very cold temperature in the night, and from the bottom is the heat and the warmth. And these two things, which when they found on each other, bring the ability of Riesling to produce the beautiful flavor and the huge intense aroma and flavor of the Riesling. This is the secret of the success for the Riesling. We have very long vegetation periods. This means we are starting in the March and the wines are growing and up until end of October. In some years, we are harvesting the grapes in the middle of the November. So, on the top of the stone is a part of loam and cover. This is very important to keep the humidity and allow us to get every year good quality and as well as the quantity of the wines. So the next point of the winemaking is, of course, our production place. This is situated directly on in Schloss Johannisberg, below the castle in the cellar. One of the key elements what we have is the very short distance between the vineyard and the production place. Just imagine we are going early in the morning, 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the vineyard. During the harvest, we decided which line we take. And we are harvesting line by line with the hands and are transported directly to the production place. And the distance is like 5 minutes. So we have during the transport no macrobiological work on the grapes. And this is the key element to keep the grapes very clean and very pure. And I hope you will feel it during the tasting. Our philosophy of winemaking means purity of the aroma is the first order. The second order is the intensity of the flavor and the fruit on the nose. And the third is the density and the concentration in the mouth you can feel. The three elements of wine philosophy, what we are working very strong on. The fermentation is made in two different ways. On the one way, we have a very modern stainless tanks from metal, which are very modern and allow us to work very focused on pure and strong aromas of the Riesling. And the second part, even much more important, is the fermentation in wooden barrel. And this traditional way of winemaking, fermentation of white wine in large, big wooden barrels is our key element of our style. The barrels are made out from the wooden which grow in our forest. It is directly on the top of Schloss Johannisberg and it's several hundred acres of forest. And the wooden from the oaks which are growing there are using for production of our wooden barrel. The fermentation in wooden barrel is on a natural way, always with a natural yeast, and allows us to make wine which are complex in the aroma when the acidity is dropping a little bit down and the wine are absolutely dry. This is the big difference to the past of a Riesling. Maybe some of you remember 20, 30 years ago, Riesling was usually a sweet wine, but not in the moment. Now in the moment we are producing a lot of dry wine. Why? Because the acidity is much riper, is dropping down, and we are able to make very balanced wine even on very dry style. In this moment, I would like to begin the tasting because it's the most important thing in the winemaking, always taste the wine. First thing I would like to tell you, if you are interested to discover Riesling or really proper way, use the right glass. Great wine always needs a big glass. Would you like to know how I'm tasting Riesling? Like this. This is my glass for my Riesling. Now, it's of course just a joke. This is my spitting tool. So just imagine how many wine I have to taste when I have spitting tool like this. The right glass of the Riesling must be a big one and very thin on the glass wall. And the tasting, we will start with Schloss Johannisberg and Gelblatt. What means the Gelblatt? Gelb means in the German language yellow, and Gelblatt is a yellow seal. You see the color of the cap. The quality steps of our wines are signed with different colors of the cap. What does it mean? In the origin, it was a seal like on the documents. Maybe you can see it here. This is the original seal, and a seal like this was the original color painting of the bottle, and it was a system how to sign the quality level. The Gelblatt, our yellow seal, is grown in the whole vineyard of Johannisberg, means everywhere, and this is like a basket of all the grapes and all the styles within our terroir. What brings the aroma, sign the aroma, there is in the first step, and I hope you feel it, the purity. That's my first order, very pure, very clean aromas, but intense, and we are really strong working of the notes of Yellowstone fruits, like peaches. Then we have a lot of citrus, like a lemon peel. You will feel as well a little bit of etheric oils from the citrus peel when you squeeze the cyst. You have this aroma of the squeezing of the peel. That's what we feel here, very very good and very strong. There is a hint of fresh and ripe pineapple and some green garden herbs. I am tasting vintage 2018. It's possible that you will have in the tasting 2017. No matter, even the vintages are different. In the end, they are ripening on very similar way to get these beautiful, complex, and intensive notes. Difference between 18 and 17, for example. 17 was a vintage which was a little bit colder with lots of humidity. That was really good. And we keep a lot of acidity in the wine, which was very important. In the past, the people were afraid of acidity and they tried to drop the acidity. When we began to vintage 2017, we go into the harvest with a very high wish from me, don't lose any milligram of acidity. And you will feel it in the vintage if you get this wine. If you have 2018, the acidity is lower, but we were able to make a very long skin contact with the grapes. Between 4 hours and 72 hours, so up to 3 days skin contact makes a huge phenolic structure, minerality, and a very long living wine. Beautiful taste, complex, strong, but never overloaded. I hope you feel this light-feeted wine. What we always try to avoid are weightiness in the wine. We are not looking for high alcohol level. The world is full with wine with high alcohol level. We want to get light wines, light-feeted wines, but concentrated and intense. That's what you have here in wine like this. The next one is the tasting. Our absolutely highest quality level, my biggest favorite, Silberlac, our first growth, our Grand Cru, coming from very little part of the vineyard, going into the southwest. So just imagine southwest and west mean lot of late afternoon sun and lot of evening sun. Imagine the long shadows they falling over the country. All tourists are away. It's such calm conditions. You can just hear a lot of the birds, and you see some hawks making circle on the heaven. We have directly here on Schloss Johannisberg a family of tower hawks, and they have 2 children in this year. Beautiful things. They are just making that circle, and that's the condition and the mystic place for growing of the grapes. Very late harvested grape, perfect selected, and very carefully harvested. Look, big glass is a Burgundy glass. Maybe you think I'm crazy, and I know I'm a little bit crazy, but great quality needs a place in the glass. So give them wine a place in the glass and never taste reaching in small glass. Silberlac, our Grand Cru. There is a lot of long skin contact and very pure maceration, and then we go with very cloudy juice without any correcture of the juice. Very cloudy, very dense, into the wooden barrel, 100% wooden barrel fermentation for 4 months at least. Then we stay after the fermentation on the hoodies. We make a batonnage similar like in Burgundy, but not so often, every 3, maybe 4 weeks. To turn a little bit, you will feel it in your mouthfeel, and then we remove the wine from the barrel, picking the best bottle and make the blend for the silver like this. The note, I have vintage 2016. I love this was my first vintage during my leading of the Schloss Johannisberg. That's why I love this vintage. Complex aroma. You feel not only the stony minerals. You have fruit like apricots. My wife always says when I'm serving wine, she says always, your Schloss Johannisberg apricot wine. She calls it apricot wine. So there's lots of apricot and passion fruit, and you have the stony minerals. You have some green tea notes from the green tea, and as well a hint of very ripe pineapple. Taste intensity is that's what I really like on the wine and what I'm looking for. Intense taste. Perfect balanced acidity. The wine is on a very dry style, so we have approximately 4 grams of residual sugar, 6 grams of acidity, perfect balance. The wooden influence is very good integrated in the wine, very smooth. With the aging, you will get a lot, some of smoky notes, but they are not to keep with the wooden bottle. The smokiness is going into the quartzite, to the quartzite bag, and you have wine which is very, very long living, at least 20-25 years. Nicola, I'm too long in my explaining, I know, but I think you will now take the microphone over.
This, you can keep going as long as you like, Stefan. This is amazing. Thank you so much for all the great insights about Schloss Johannisberg. And I know that, we're at the bottom of the hour. We did start a little late because we had the little small glitch of technical difficulty. But if you do need to move on, we understand. Thank you for joining us. If not, we'd like to move into the question and answer portion of our webinar. So the first question we have for you is, how far off of the banks of the Rhine River are the vineyards, and how do the vines benefit from the proximity to the river?
The distance between the Rhine River and the beginning of the slope is approximately 800 meters to up to 1 kilometer. So the distance is not too huge, but the castle is not directly on the bank. This is very important because we have very high water in the Rhine, and then the vineyards directly on the bank, they are overflowed with the water and doesn't good for the quality of the wine. So the distance is approximately 800 meters, and the influence of the Rhine is very important because the huge amount of the water brings very stable and very warm temperature. But the directly mirroring the sunny influence to the wines is not such huge like in the Mosel, for example, much less. So that means there is not like a mirroring of the sun, not so much. More important is the huge amount of the water in the Rhine, which makes a very stable temperature.
Second question, how steep are the slopes of the vineyards?
Very good question, Nicola. Very good question, because I didn't know it. I discovered it 1 year ago in the University of Geisenheim, which is 2 kilometers from us, one of the best and most well-known school for the enology, beside of some other in the world. And I found out that this 45 degrees, 45 degrees means exactly the middle of 9 degrees. Is the absolutely perfect sunny influence, because we are lying very northern compared to other wine regions in the world. We need huge sunny influence, and the 45% means the best sunny influence you can imagine. Because if you get steeper, the sunny influence is going lower. So 45 degrees, absolutely perfect.
You kind of answered that question in this next question, but I'm going to pose it as well because you might have a little bit more information. Is the Rhine River able to provide as a level of heat source to the Taunus quartzite in the vineyard by reflecting the sun, just as the Mosel River does to the red and blue slate of the Mosel region?
That was something what I already explained in the first question. There is not this huge influence similar like on the motor, much other. So it's much more the stable temperature of the air because the huge amount of water brings a lot of warm air with you. The but the really most important work of the Rhine River is during the autumn because the water in the Rhine River is warmer like the air in the night. And when the temperature in the night are dropping down and the Rhine River is warmer as the air, they begin to build a fog. And this fog is the reason that we get botrytis cinerea in our vineyard, the Noble Road.
Great. What is the history and purpose behind using large barrels for aging, and how does that reflect the racing acidity that Riesling is known for?
The big barrels, what is the difference between a barrique, like a small barrel, and a big barrel? Barriques was made as a for transportation. Big barrels was not for transportation because they are too big. They are made only for storing wine and keeping the wine. And the typical size of the wooden barrel in our region is so-called piece or Stück, and this is 1,200 liters. And if you get large barrel, there is the influence of the wooden much less like in a small barrel because there is the copper between liquid inside and the wooden is in a small barrel much higher like in a big one. So you have not so strong influence, but you have micro-oxidation and one important thing, the traditional way of winemaking on Schloss Johannisberg include malolactic fermentation during the alcoholic fermentation. This is something that the microbiologists or the biologists in the lab, the worker, they look like, are you crazy? Malolactic fermentation together with alcoholic fermentation never works. It could be, but on Schloss Johannisberg works always. Why? Because the cellar is absolutely unique one with unique conditions. And you have alcoholic fermentation that stops somewhere by 40 grams of residual sugar. Then you have 2 weeks running malolactic fermentation, stop at itself, and the alcoholic fermentation runs away. So you have smooth acidity, much well concentrated, and you win complexity on the wine.
Great. This one actually came in via our chat, and it was a question about fine herb. Why is it called fine herb?
So, in the origin, the wine like this was called half trocken or half dry. But half dry is something like a no smoker. It's not a positive, it's a negative way how to describe wine. And we don't want to judge wines by sugar only. That's the problem that people think about the wine and about sweetness in the Riesling. They are judging the taste only by the sugar. But we taste sweet, sour, bitter, and saltiness. And all these 4 components, and umami, of course. These 5 components make your taste feeling. So if you have a big portion of fresh acidity, you can increase your level of sugar. Why? Because you are balanced and you are increasing the taste intensity of the wine. If the wine has 0 grams of residual sugar, your acidity must be low. If you have huge acidity, you can increase the sugar level. And the fine herb means the wine is off dry, but only if you look on the sweetness. Don't judge the taste of the Riesling by sugar only. Remember acidity.
That was a great answer. Thank you. The Biblioteca Subterranea is your underground cellar for back vintages. How far below the estate is that, and how long is it? And also, what is the oldest vintage that you have?
This is the memory of Schloss Johannisberg. We have a part of the cellar. We are one and only cellar in the whole region, and maybe one of the less in the whole Germany, with 2 levels in the cellar. And in the last part of the cellar, we have this Biblioteca Subterranea. This is a chamber. Our treasure are storing here. We are storing there up to 25,000 bottles, and the oldest bottle is from the year 1748.
Stefan, Thank you so much for all of the information, and it's been amazing listening to you. You're so charismatic, and you know so much about it. I want to ask you 100 more questions, but we've come to the end of our time. I'm going to hand the microphone back over to you. Thanks again, Stefan.
Thank you, Nicola. It was a big pleasure for me to host you, Schloss Johannisberg, directly here in my office. It was a great experience for me, and I will be very happy and will do it much more often, and hope to see you soon again, maybe in USA.
Thank you so much, Stefan. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Have a nice day. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure for me. And now, time for wrestling.